Our next guest grew up in East Los Angeles and is a former technology industry executive. He has worked in both the public and private sectors and assisted nonprofits. He received an appointment to manage President Obama's Economic Recovery Board. He currently lives in El Sereno with his wife Rebecca. He wants to be your next mayor. He is a political newcomer who you may not have heard before. Please welcome Emanuel Pleitez.
How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Good. The energy in the room, and actually, you got to give credit where credit is due. Kevin James, he's done a lot of work, and I got to give him credit. At least you know that's what you'll get from me. Someone's more transparent. And Kevin, before you leave, thank you for raising important issues.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay.
Just giving you some space.
There you go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Look, what you'll get from me is someone who, I'll share today a little bit of how I think, so you get to know where I'm coming from on things. I may not have as much history in the humane community as some of my other my opponents in this race. However, I do think that you'll get a sense of who I am and how I think about things, and I'll propose a few things that hopefully we can engage in, and in the long run, I plan to be a partner and hopefully get included in more of your work, so we can actually work together. As I'm a born and raised Angelino, and I'm not going anywhere. And as mayor, I'll invite you all to be a critical part of my administration as well. My campaign has been about giving a voice to the voiceless, those who have been ignored by our politicians, those who suffer at the hands of our system in general. And this includes non-human Angelinos. I believe we should all be a part not just of our human community, but our humane community. Our animals are co-workers. They're our friends, they're our family members. Treat others how you want to be treated. It's something that I've heard all along throughout growing up, and something that I want to continue on is in any post that I have. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean in City Hall? How will that philosophy affect my administration? I want to make sure that I appoint people to the Animal Service Commission that have a lifelong commitment to the ethical and equitable treatment of animals, and empower that vision so that they can both monitor the humane treatment of animals in our city, while also finding new ways to actually improve the animal quality of life here in Los Angeles. That means giving the position greater importance and planning authority than it's ever had before. In addition to those appointments, I want to create a city behaviorist position to hire someone who specializes in rehabilitating animals and training people to better relate to their pets and animals. We want to make sure that the city of LA is accessible to a phone number where people can actually call in for questions and even request home visits. I want to raise capital through public-private partnerships. It's sad to hear that some of the private capital has actually been turned away, but there's a lot of energy behind this that we can easily provide the path for it to happen. This is critical because animals deemed aggressive or having other behavioral issues are often abandoned and even euthanized because we as people couldn't address their needs or support their owners. It breaks my heart that thousands of animals are euthanized by our city. It's unacceptable, and I pledge to eliminate euthanasia in Los Angeles. Now, we cannot just say it and try to create a regulation that hopefully stops it. We've got to go after the root causes of animal homelessness so that euthanasia is not even an option. We should not be in the business of denying our animals a chance at their life. Los Angeles needs an aggressive spay-and-neuter programs. You've heard that already. That means active, not passive programs. I'll ensure that there's a free spay-and-neuter clinic in every council district so all council members can get their credit. And as if you have heard me speak already, you'll learn more and more about me, especially in some of the lower income communities where there's not as much access to these I want to expand our animal services to include an aggressive catch and release program that will find, track, and spay or neuter our homeless animals. Finding homes for abandoned animals is another critical part of the solution. Now, what could some of these solutions be that are different than some of the things we're already doing? There are a lot of nonprofits out there, or maybe not a lot, but in eyes of some of you here, but there are programs out there that could be used for matching foster care services for homeless animals. Not just radio shows, but actual organizations that can be empowered through public-private partnerships, so we do more of that.
Now we're talking.
We need more programs like that. I want City Hall to actually be a resource for people looking for animals. And it doesn't have to be cost prohibitive, because there are a lot of technology solutions out there that can help us do that. Look, my background is as a technology company executive, actually helping do that for everyday people, for foster kids, for people who were adopted trying to reconnect with their families. And obviously this is different, but through the use of technology, there's ways to do that. Through visuals, through data, through better monitoring of all this. We can create an online database of animals in need, complete with pictures which would be updated in real time in partnership with all the nonprofits that are trying to do some of this already, so we can better map it out. This resource would also be invaluable in helping reunite owners with lost pets, but it also decrease the number of former pets on our streets. Now, microchipping, we hear some of that already. Microchipping is our pets is another way to ensure lost animals are found and kept off our streets. This is where my data and technology background comes, because I know there's a technology out there that we can start employing in our city, and again, it's not cost prohibitive. It's something that could very easily be done at a higher level today. We need to do a better job of collecting, processing, and using our data about animals to help our animals in real time and ensure lost and abandoned animals find shelter quickly. We also need to create more public-private partnerships with these technology companies, because some of these technology companies actually want to offer more of their services if they have access to more of their data so they can provide the services better. In my administration, I want a team of data scientists that report directly to the mayor, because I've worked with folks like this with engineering background, with data background, so we can better provide these types of services for the general population, that within a click of a button, or a few clicks maybe, you can get to the information you need. This obviously will help us better regulate the process of keeping our animals off the street in a very low cost way. Now, we can't just stop at our pets. The animals we eat also need to be treated with the utmost dignity and respect. The explosion in live animal markets needs to be checked by the city. If the USDA isn't inspecting all of those facilities, then it's City Hall's job, and we need to step up to ensure animals here are receiving ethical treatment. Now, I recognize the solution to this problem isn't as simple as just taxing or fining the owners of these markets, although we can do that. All action the city takes with regard to regulating these markets must also be enacted with the cultural consideration of the owners of these businesses, and we need to work with the various communities that are involved that have any exposure to this, so we can come up with better solutions. It's my job as mayor to make sure that we are caring for our animals in every situation. I want to make Los Angeles an actual leader, and we could be a world leader in animal rights, so that other cities can start following some of these programs, and the outside-the-box thinking, using market-based solutions, so we can actually do this on top of the actual, regulations that we could be putting in place already.
Now we're talking.
Now being the world leader means focusing also on wild animals. Back in July, Alex Superior Court Judge John Siegel ruled in favor of concerned citizens and activists that sued the zoo on behalf of Billy the elephant. The conditions and treatment Billy was forced to endure was an abomination. Sadly, Billy isn't the only elephant in captivity who endures these conditions, and that are far worse in some cases. And if the zoo can't effectively replicate wildlife conditions, then it shouldn't have the animals. All captive animals should have accommodations that reflect their lives in the wild, and shouldn't be coerced into performing abnormal actions for human amusement.
That's right.
You can teach them how to sit without abusing it, and Judge Siegel's injunction against the use of bullhooks and electric shock was a good and necessary first step, but we should apply that same protection to all of our animals, wild and domestic, by ensuring things like cattle prods, shock collars remain far away from our animals. Compliance with these regulations requires trained and dependable handlers. Now, we want to make sure that we have more of those people, and the city bears the responsibility to make sure that we have more of those trained folks who can actually handle our animals in a more just way. The actions and testimony of Billy's handlers and vet were, quite frankly, an embarrassment when I learned about them. Our wild animals deserve the compassionate and informed professionals to manage their care, and I'll make sure that they have that. As we expand our city, we encroach on animal habitats as well that already exist. We want to be extremely mindful of this to ensure we don't harm wild animals. People have a tendency to view animals as invaders, when that's simply not the case. Angelinos should be able to call. We need more wildlife professionals in the city that have the goal of preventing violent action that could harm the human or the animal. This could be coordinated through the office of the city behaviorist that I'm proposing. A large and important part of our relationship with wildlife is knowing and respecting that there are some places people don't belong. It's a reality that it's a reality that sometimes we often do more harm than good when we're in some places. Now, to conclude, animal issues are very close to my heart, and I will take the well-being of our animals seriously as mayor. We should treat everyone, including our animals, how we want to be treated. Los Angeles can be the world leader in animal rights, with a leader who truly believes in animal rights, but is also practical and knows how to work with disparate communities across sector to come up with real solutions instead of just great speeches. The people of Los Angeles deserve more than what they've gotten in the past decade, and so do our animals. Thank you.